Sure.
So guys, firstly, there have been a lot of questions. We are not able to answer all the questions, so I'll still take up one or two like Gautam was taking up in the middle of the session. But yeah, guys, one thing I noticed, a lot of your questions are already a part of our presentation. So please hold on. In fact, I've counted something like 7 or 8 questions that have come up in the last 2 minutes. We have the answers. So you just have to hold on for about 30 minutes or so. All these questions will be answered. We will also have, probably based on time, probably about 5-6 minutes on answering your questions. So please stay tuned for that. It's impossible for us to handle the number of questions that are coming through directly. Anyway, so let's go ahead and take a look at what happened in CAT. Starting with the English section, which is verbal ability and reading comprehension. So what were the takeaways? So the last 5 years, our team has put together, we have been able to take a look at basically what happened last 5 years, all the RCs, all the parajumbles, and can we make some sense out of it? Instead of looking at exam by exam, we basically try to understand broader picture. What do IIMs actually, where do IIMs actually pick up these passages from? What is it that they have in their mind when they're trying to create these questions? So keeping that in mind, when we did this analysis, we got these 2 or 3 takeaways, which in my opinion are really important for you to in the next 3 months or 4 months of your preparation. So let's take a look at what are these. The first takeaway that we looked at is in these 5 years, okay, the color is orange. Gautam likes the orange color. I usually prefer the yellow color of mine, so I will get back to my yellow color. Okay, so we have 5 years of papers and we have 54 RC passages. So we have analyzed all these 54 RC passages and we picked up the sources of each one of these passages. We noticed that almost about half, or probably about 45% of the reading comprehension passages that have come in the last 5 years of CAT have come from these sources. New York Times, Guardian, Smithsonian Magazine, Aeon. These are platforms where you can go and read news. You can read about articles. They are available. Some of them, most of them are free. And I'm not saying that you have to pay any money for that. Whatever articles you can get your hands on from these sources, make it a point that you read at least 1 article per day as far as English is concerned, because you can see in the last 5 years almost 45% of your RCs came from these topics, which also means, I'm not saying that you'll be getting a passage beforehand, right? I'm not saying that you'll be going, getting to know the question paper beforehand, but the whole idea is the structure of writing, the complexity in the passage, the way in which they use words, you will get used to it. So that's the basic idea when I say you have to read these passages. The second thing which we also noticed is the topics that these passages have come up. So the 54 passages, almost 30 of them. So that's about 60% of the questions, or rather the RC passages, have come from only these 4 areas. So if you are thinking of what type of passages for us to read or for me to practice, please take note: sociology, anthropology, science and technology, zoology, biology and history. So these are the topics from which mostly the RC passages have been picked up from. Now I understand sociology, anthropology, listening to the name itself will probably put you to sleep if you're not from that background. But yes, probably science and technology, some of you might find it interesting, so it's good. So this should also be the idea with which you pick your passages when you're dealing with your mocks or as far as your CAT exam is concerned. So if you have 5 passages, pick the ones which you really like. You know that sociology or anthropology is not something that you like reading at the beginning itself. So please don't start with that in your mocks also. Right? Similarly, if you understand zoology and terms related to it, but if you are from such kind of a background, a topic from it would really be great for you. If it is not, then probably not the best way for you to start a passage. So decide what topic. So that's the whole idea. You read one passage every day or one article every day from these areas over a period of 20, 25 days, 30 days, or probably a month and a half. You will notice that some areas will interest you, some areas will put you off. Make a note of that. That should be used in your mocks as well as in your CAT exam. Okay. The next thing is about para-jumbles. We have tried to do the same kind of an analysis from para-jumbles, para-summary, odd sentence. So we are able to get one particular analysis or one particular takeaway point here. So we notice that the topics from which the odd para-jumbles, the para-summary, the para-completion or odd sentence out have come are again from biology, but this time linguistics, science and technology again comes back to you. So these are the three areas from which mostly the verbal reasoning part, the VR part has come in CAT. However, we were also trying to look at the source of it. Can we also pinpoint which source they are picking up from? But we could not pinpoint and say that this is the source where most of the questions came. It was from all over the place. We could find the sources, but it did not make sense for me to put a list of 100 websites. So they were from many sites, many places, many books also, because the faculty who make this, remember guys, they are very well read. They read a lot. So they have a lot of sources, and it was very difficult for us to put out what are the best sources. But yes, if you're looking at the topics, we have the topics listed from which the bulk of the verbal reasoning portion has come in the last 5 years. These are the main takeaways as far as your English is concerned. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the percentile requirement. So Gautam has already shown the overall percentile requirement. I'm taking section by section. So if you look at a 90 percentile, you are basically looking at 29 marks, which is a net. It's a net 10 corrects. So out of the 24 questions which were there last year, you needed to get less than half of them correct, which is just about 10. You had 40 minutes, my friends, 40 minutes, and your target is 10 questions correct, and you are here at your 90 percentile. It is not a difficult task, provided. So I'll tell you where people end up making a mess. They end up picking up passages, they end up picking up para-jumbles, which they should not. So the whole idea about English is don't try to solve everything. Start with the ones that you like, and it's not just about English, it's about maths as well as LRD. I'll keep repeating that mantra again and again. But yes, the whole idea is start with what you're good at and let go of the ones which you are kind of iffy, or if you kind of, I don't like it at all. Okay, so those are not for you to deal with in the exam. Anyway, so let's go ahead and take a